guys, didn't do a homework. Ryder and Robert, also need to go back to do it because you and Andrew, Liam didn't do. Did you do it? You didn't do the graph. You don't need a graph actually. And Charlotte says I have mental health week. Okay. And Sam and most of you guys on this side did do homework. Bennett, that doesn't look like a homework enough. So, remember, I usually put 100 in there. So, but if you didn't do it, I just take 10 points off each time. That's supposed to help you grade, but it doesn't. So, that's up to you, right? So that's the thing. You gotta be able to try as much as you can to do homework. And most of the homework question are the test question. Okay, so let's talk about what's question for homework question that you have from yesterday. Which one you have?
26.
I'm gonna do that at the end. Let's start with the first few first. Whoa, my table's. Yeah, can you get a cup? Whatever. Yeah, Brendan. Number 15. 15. Okay, I'm gonna go to 15 because I think that one I cannot teach. After you find the rest of the stuff. What's question 15? Can you tell me?
2x cubed.
2x cubed. Hold on a second. Okay, so 2x cubed.
Plus 6x squared.
2x cubed plus 6x squared.
Plus 5x.
Plus 5x.
Plus 2.
Plus 2. The question, what's the first possible things they want you to do? What's the part A they're asking?
Find the
possible roots?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is rational root theorem. Okay, sorry. Here. Okay. F a factor of this, which is 2, over factor of 2. So that's plus minus 1, plus minus 2, over plus minus 1, plus minus 2. So that's equal to plus minus 1, plus minus 2, and then plus minus 1 half. So those are the possible roots. And you have to be able to list all that root out. Okay, what's the next question is asking? You synthetic division, right?
Yeah.
What was the first number you tried that's good? I didn't want to try multiple tries.
-2.
-2? Okay. So be 2, 6, 5, 2, 2, -4, 2, -4, 1, 1, -2, 0. So be 2x squared plus 2x plus 1. You need to be able to write that factor out. So be x plus 2 here because -2 changed to x plus 2. That's a long division. It's equal to 0. Just because it's equal to 0, then you can write out the rest of the factor like this. It has to equal to 0. If it doesn't equal to 0, that means that that division doesn't work with factor. So then you say, okay, well, we can using box method. But if you do box method, you'll figure out that is one of the thing called prime. And there's no way to get 2x in the middle. So you say, okay, well, maybe box method is not a way to go. And I did talk about on Friday, if a box method doesn't work, then you can use quadratic formula. So this is a little bit different. So use quadratic. So so then you had to remember from the last chapter how to use quadratic formula. It's negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that's going to be negative 2 plus minus 2 squared is 4 minus 4 times 1 times 4. Times 1, sorry. No, 4 times 2 times 1. Sorry. 2 times 2. So it'd be negative 2 plus minus 4 minus 8 over 4. So it'd be negative 2 plus minus square root of negative 8 over negative 4, sorry. It would be negative 2 plus minus square root of negative 4. That means you got two non-zero roots. Non-zero roots, that means square root of negative 1 times 4 over 4. Negative 2 plus minus I, 2 over 4. So that's negative 1/2 plus minus 1/2 I. So totally you have 3 roots. X plus 2 equal to 0, x equal to negative 2. That's the first root. This is a real 0 because you can see on the graph. Negative 1/2 plus 1/2 I, that is the non-real. So you're going to get, this is a non-real 0 because you're not going to see on the graph. And remember, anytime non-real, they come in pairs. They come in 2 at a time. They don't just come in 1. Every time you have a complex or imaginary or non-real roots, so anytime you have complex, they are the same thing. On the AP exam, they use non-real 0. So non-real 0. When you get non-real 0 or complex, I call it complex roots, which is not the real roots. Okay? They come in pairs. Because the quadratic formula, it has a plus minus. They come in pairs. Actually, anything that's come with quadratic formula usually come in pairs. It could be like 2 plus minus square root 3. So they come in pair. Even though they are real, but they can come in pair as well if you use quadratic formula. Questions? Okay. Go ahead and you can sit up here. So you don't have to sit that far. Okay, any other questions? Yes. 23. Okay, what's 23 says? X to the third. X to the fourth.
Minus 2x to the third.
Uh-huh.
5x squared. Plus 8x plus 4.
Okay, so that sounds kind of long. They want the same thing, right? Similar thing, right? So it'll be factor of 4 over factor of 1. So it'll be plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, plus minus 4. What will be a good first try here?
Where it says 3.
Oh, 3. 3 is not supposed to be here. Okay. So what is it? 2? 2 is the first try? Okay, well, it could be multiple different numbers. So that's 1, -2, -5, 8, and 4. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 0, -5, -10, -2, -4, 0. So that's going to be x to the third plus 0x squared at -5x -2 times x minus 2. It turns out this, you had to do it again. I don't know what's a good number to try. -2? We can try -2. Mostly it doesn't work. -2? Sorry, 1, -2, -2, 4, -1, 2, 0. Good. So that becomes x minus 2 times x plus 2, I think. And then times x squared minus 2x minus 1. So you just had to try a different number. But you try the rest of them. You're not trying for original. Are we okay so far? Can we factor the rest? I don't think that's factorable. Is it factorable? Try it, right? X squared, -1, -2x, x, 1, 1. They cannot be factored because they cannot both be negative to be positive here. So this is not a good thing to do. So then you can do a -b. So a b, sorry, -b. So it'd be 2 plus minus 4 minus 4 times 1 times -1 over 2. 2 plus minus 4 plus 4. So it's 8 over 2. You can factor out 2. So it'll be 2 plus 2 square root of 2 over 2. 1 plus minus square root 2. What does it tells me is anytime I use quadratic formula here, right, I will have 2 real roots instead of 2 complex roots because the plus minus are positive values. So you have a 0 at 2, you have a 0 at -2, you have a 0 at 1 plus square root 2, and x equal to 1 minus square root 2. Those are the 4 zeros. So yes, you're going to get all 4. But first of all, let's review this. How many 0 are they by looking at this equation? How can you tell? How many 0? 4, because this is degree. That means the 4 zeros. They can be all real. So if, let's just say, at this case, 2 are real. And the last one is also real. So there's total of 4, but the last 2 is getting from a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, usually you're going to get 2. Either 2 real or 2 non-real. If a square root of a negative number, you're going to get 2 non-real. If a square root of a positive number, you're going to get 2 real, but just going to be a rational number. Irrational number, I mean. Yes?
So are you getting the -2 from when you divided the factor of 4 from the factor of 1? Or is that something you're guessing?
What do you mean -2?
The -2 is for the synthetic division.
Yeah, I just try. I usually told you that on the test, I'm going to ask you to try 1, -1, +2, -2. but usually it's gonna be in the first four. I don't know, depending on your luck. I don't know which one's right. Questions here? Yes.
So we supposed to graph this?
No. It's kind of hard to graph, but it's possible. If you want to graph this, it's gonna be, I believe this is up, up. So like this, at -2, +2. 1 minus 1.4, so it would be -0.4 here, and 1 plus 1.4 is 2.4, so 2.4 here. So y-intercept is gonna be at 4, so 4 is right here. So it's probably like something like this. If you were to graph, it's gonna be like something like this. Now, yes, can you able to graph it? Yeah, if you have all real zeros, you should be able to graph. Non-real zero, I don't expect you to be able to graph. Let's say x squared plus 1. That's the result. That's not factorable. Okay, so, all right, let's talk about an I problem. Which question? What's a few question at the end? Yes. Okay, let's start with the easy one. Let's start with the first one over there. 26, okay, 26. What did 26 says? Can you tell me?
N is equal to 3.
N equal to 3.
And then 4 and 2i are 0.
4
And 2i.
and 2i are zeros.
And f -1 is equal to -50.
Okay, so this will be on the test. What does n equal to 4 mean here? Oh, n equal to 3, sorry. Yes, Annika?
It's like the highest.
The highest degree. So you have x to the third, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what is it, but it's some type of x to the third. Right? So that means there was 3 zeros. Wait, how many zeros did I give it to you? They give you only 2. Then you say something doesn't add up. Which one come in a pair? 2i come in a pair. So this, you have to write down, this implying x equal to 2i and x equal to -2i. That's what I'm implying. Because they come in pairs. If you have imaginary friend, you might as come in 2. One told you to play Fortnite, and the other one told you to do homework. So then you got x equal to 4, x equal to 2i, x equal to -2i. For me, I write out all the 0 and I convert them each one to factor. So it'll be x minus 4 equal to 0, x minus 2i equal to 0, x plus 2i equal to 0. So that's going to be x minus 4 times x minus 2i times x plus 2i. Now what happened is this, it has an a value in the front. I told you because there is a coordinate that's going to fixate the polynomial. Okay? And that fixation is very important because that's going to determine value a. Now, I'm going to write down, this one just means x, this just means -1 comma -50. So which is -50 equal to a times -1 minus 4. So -1 minus 4. Oh, sorry. I don't want to do that yet. There's something else I want to do here. I don't like this. Why I don't like that? because I got x minus 2i and x plus 2i. Very hard to distribute that. So it's much better is you actually figure out what this end up distributing us. So if I multiply, it's going to be x squared in. You might want to stand up. Are you sleeping?
No.
Okay. X squared plus 2ix minus 2ix minus 4i squared. So that's going to be x minus 4a. Now what's nice is this two middle term cancel out. It's going to be x squared plus 4 because I squared is going to -1. So it review all old stuff. That's why I like this question. Now with that being said, I can use that point now. I'm going to apply that point into here. So it'll be -50 equal to a times -1 minus 4 times -1 squared plus 4. And you figure out a times -5 times 5. So that is -50 over -25. A is equal to 2. Now, am I done yet? Not really, because you will have to find out a polynomial. Sarah, you okay? You understand this? Okay. So that's going to be, I'm going to distribute the n first. It'll be x to the third plus 4x minus 4x to the third minus 4x to the second minus 16, and then I can distribute it. And that becomes a polynomial. I can write this in order if I wanted to. Wait, this is 2. So that'll be 2x cubed minus 8x squared plus 8x minus 32. And that's the final polynomial. Now, it's a lot of work, yeah. But that's going to tell you, how do you recognize if imaginary roots come in pairs? Anything used quadratic that requires come in pairs. Sometimes you got 1 minus 2i. Yep, they come in pairs. Now, last question, which is more difficult, was 33, right? 33 or 31? 31. 31, it says what? N equal to what? 4. That means the degree. So that means there's a 4 solutions. What are the zeros?
-2, 5, and 3.
-2,
5 and 3 plus 2i.
5,
3 plus 2i.
3 plus 2i. Okay, so what is a real zero? Real zero, this one will change to x plus 2 is a factor. Is that okay? And it's x minus 5 is a factor. Is that okay? That's the easy part, right? What will be x equal to 3 plus 2i? What's a factor? Or just move everything to the other side. What is it?
Minus 3 minus 2i.
X minus 3 minus 2i equal to 0. So that becomes a factor. But there is another one. 3 minus 2i because they are pairs, right? So this one's going to be x minus 3 plus 2i. So again, it's x plus 2, x minus 5, x minus 3 minus 2i, and x minus 3 plus 2i. And if you get to this part, you already got out of 2 check mark or 3 check mark, you'll probably get a very important one, the first one. Now that's next part I did not teach you. But next part is kind of interesting. Remember, I always take care of the I situations here. if you want to take care of the I, this one is kind of interesting because you have to have an extra parenthesis here to help you. This is the extra parenthesis here because if you do that extra parenthesis, because that order doesn't matter, because if you have parenthesis first two term or parenthesis last two term, that doesn't matter. Long as you have the signs correctly. But I'm gonna parenthesis the first two term. If I do that, I'm gonna have a minus b and a plus b. If I distribute this, it's gonna be a squared minus b squared. So it'll be x minus 3 squared minus 4i squared. So that probably caused some confusion. So let me know you have any questions. Remember, this is a, this is a b, this is a, this is a b. So you know if you FOIL a plus b and a minus b, it's going to be a squared minus b squared. Yes.
Why is the 4i squared?
Because it's 2i times 2i. So it'd be 4i squared. I mean, you can FOIL it out a long way. I just say if I would do that, right? But I don't want to do that because I think I'm lazy. So this FOIL this is going to be x minus 3 squared. This FOIL this is going to be plus 2i x minus 3. And this is minus 2i x minus 3. And this will end up to be cancel out each other. At the end, it's negative 4i squared. And but I don't want to do that because this is so much work. I could have just x minus 3 minus 4i squared. Now this one is gonna be, well, this one's gonna be x minus 3, so it'll be x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 4. So it's plus 9 plus 4 is what? 13, I think. And now I can put everything in there. I can put, I don't know what's the coordinate they give it to you. What's the coordinate they give it to you? What?
1 equals negative 96.
F1 equal to negative 6? 96?
Negative 96.
Okay, so this is 96 equal to a times 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 minus 5 is what? Negative 4. And the 1 here is going to be, I don't know what's 1 here. Eight, I believe. Oh yeah, so a is equal to negative 1. Yeah, and so a is equal to negative 1. So you divide it by 96 on both sides. Then lastly, that you just had to distribute this, which is kind of a lot of work. Negative 1 times x plus 2 times x minus 5 times x squared minus 6x plus 13. Now, if you get to this part, I'm okay with it because I don't really need you to find a factor standard form. I think factor form is good enough.
Negative 96.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you need positive 1?
Oh, it's equal to negative 96?
It would be.
Yeah.
Okay. So a is equal to 1. So this one will be probably, I think it's an easy question just because you just factor it, but the hardest part is right here. I think the hardest part is right this moment to recognize as a plus b and a minus b. It's very hard to consume all the way to the end. What do you have to worry for the test? Okay, I'm gonna write down the stuff. Can you do long division? Can you do synthetic division? Do you understand remainder theorem? Because I will say use remainder theorem to evaluate a number. Long division, synthetic division, remainder theorem. Okay. 4, can you graph factor form of polynomial? 5, can you graph standard form? Right, can you graph factor form? Well, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say y equal to, or f of x equal to -2 x minus 1 to the third times x plus 2 to the second. Something like this. Can you graph the standard form? Well, standard form, you just have to factor it before you graph it. So you need to know how you factor skills, right? Can you change to this to here? So I think one of the example I gave out was x squared, x to the fourth minus 29 x squared plus 100, I think. I think that's one of the things I give out for the homework. Just factor it. If you factor it, I think only a few person I was able to factor that. Okay, question 6. I will probably be like a question that you have to find rational rational roots, which is the possible roots, right? You got a factor of constant over factor of leading coefficient. And you have to write down all the possible roots. You have to find out the first zero. So find first zero by using synthetic division. Now this one is going to be luck. I don't know what it's going to be, but usually I'll try plus minus 1 and plus minus 2. One of those numbers is going to give you 8 zeros, and the rest of them is going to be required to factor. Third, 8, sorry. I don't know how to get there. Factor first zero, and then find the rest of the zero. Find the rest of the zero. Could be factored or quadratic formula. And can you graph it? Now, 10 will be like this. Will be like the last question. Let's say, for example, n equal to 3, x equal to 2, x equal to 4i. That's the zeros, right? And f of 0 is equal to 96. Can you find the equation? So basically, you're gonna have all this thing going on. Yes.
This might sound stupid, but how do you know when like you have to use the rational theorem?
I will ask you. I will say, use the rational zero theorem to find all the possible zeros, and that's it. You just list them all down, and it's not. Or they can may ask you, say, find possible roots. That's the same thing as the exact same thing. So do you know how to do long division? Long division and standard division, I will pay attention to placeholders. Make sure you have a placeholder when it needs one. Remainder theorem also need a placeholder. So you got to recognize that there is some placeholder that you need to put, check the order of things. Yeah. Yeah. So how much time I have? What? 9 minutes? Okay, I'll start writing that. I'm gonna start with writing like, okay, what will be the homework for long division? What will be the homework for standard division? Second. So let's start with
What?
do you know how to do long division? Did you see the placeholder? So this is a long division. How do I know I need to use long division? Long is not x plus a or x minus a form. So this will be your first question. Do you know how to do long division? I'll give you a clue. Remainder should be end up to be 11x minus 21 if you did it right. So do you know how to do remainder theorem? Do you know how to do synthetic? Which is, that's the easy part. I think we had to do synthetic so many times. How do we divide it by x minus 2? I think the remainder is gonna be -5. So that's easy one. Third, can you do a f of x is equal to 2x to the cube plus 11x squared plus 18x plus 9? Can you figure out what's f of -3? Use the remainder theorem. You have to use the remainder theorem. And actually, you can factor the rest of them. And can you factor the rest of them? So factor the rest. Which is, once you get it, you might get it something you can factor for. I also am not gonna be here on Wednesday. Then you guys gonna have some SAT practice here. I'm not teaching anything new. You're gonna have SAT practice. Now, if I were you, I'll come after school because tomorrow's your test. You can review all the stuff. And I'll say most recent homework is good. So look at that picture. It can take any questions here. Let me just pick up other questions here. I think it's good. There are some same page, any of those questions are good. So from 1 to 30, 1 to hold on a second. So from question 9 to 32, any of those questions are good questions. So I don't know what to tell you, but that's enough practice there. So if you need to practice the I one, to find out zeros, 25 to 32. So you can practice extra one. So pick a random one. You guys probably need more practice on this type of question. You can say n is equal to 3, 6, x equal to 6 is 0, and x equal to -5 plus 2i. And f of 2 is -636. Uh, I'll write some more question for you. Just write down this kind of what kind of question will be on the test.
Mr. Yeah.
Yeah.
For number 3, are we looking for zeros or are we just looking at what
F93, and then you might find something there.
But you don't want us to plug it in. You want us to do synthetic division, take the remaining.
Yeah.
All right, Fox method. Okay, got it.
This one. one. This. Do you understand this stuff?
Yeah, actually, I doing the video tonight, which helps, especially when it's one of those situations where I know I watched it. Now, what did it actually mean?